Hi, everyone. We're just going to get started in just a couple minutes. We're going to let some people join. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Riley Schomborn, and I am a program manager for the MSD Solutions Lab, and I also help lead innovation with the Work to Zero team here at NSC. So today you're going to be hearing from Sarah Block, and she's going to be presenting on best practices for EHS digital strategy development and technology selection. But first, I'm going to be doing a quick overview of our new initiative. This is the Tech Hub Marketplace. It is a searchable directory of NSC-approved technology providers. So first, here is the agenda. I'm just going to be going over what the marketplace is, the package and pricing options, and what is the application process. All right. Switch here. All right. So why do we have a Tech Hub Marketplace? So we know that technology solutions can reduce injuries and save lives. So why aren't they more readily adopted? Safety professionals just don't know what's available. So the marketplace was then designed to connect technology buyers with technology vendors. So let's take a look at what that directory looks like. So this is a screen grab of what the Search to Solutions tab would look like on the website. So if someone were to want to explore and buy some technology, they would go to this page, and this is where you can filter out your results. So you can filter on technology, hazard, format, industry, apply those filters, and that's where the listing would pop up. So here are 3 of our partners. This is what the listings would look like. And right now we have 30 partners with us, and we launched at the end of October. So now that you got a quick overview of just what the website would look like, what are the package and pricing options? So again, the marketplace was designed to connect technology buyers with technology vendors. So we wanted to make sure that we had a variety of packaging and pricing options for companies of all sizes and budgets. So that's why we have 2 package options and then 3 pricing options. So our first package is a basic partner, and then our second package is a priority partner. And these are the 3 ways to sign up through a subscription model, a revenue share model, and then a split model. So I'm going to go quickly into the difference between both packages. So first, here is our basic package. So again, the same 3 ways to sign up through those 3 different models, and then the benefits. So you would get an exclusive company profile, a lead generation, advertising for your marketplace listing, you get a badge and media kit, and a discounted booth and priority application for our safety technology pavilions. And those will be showcased next week at our Future VHS event in Louisville, Kentucky. So we hope to see you there. And we also showcase it at our NSC Congress and Expo, which is in Orlando this year in September. But that was our basic partner. Now we're going to go into priority partner. So again, you have the same 3 ways to sign up through those 3 models, and then the benefits. So you would get the same benefits as a priority part or as a basic partner, plus you would get preferred ranking. So if you were to go and filter out those results, like I showed you before, your listing would pop up first. You would get an invitation to our advisory council. You can publish case studies, videos, and you would get dedicated advertising. And a little bit more about that advisory council. We are meeting quarterly. So we just met on February 7th, and our next one would tentatively be around May 1st. And this is just for you guys to stay informed on industry news, stay connected to NSC tech initiatives, and network with your peers. And a little bit more about being a priority partner is you get to contribute to our insights page, which is on our website. So you're able to upload 1 video and 1 PDF per quarter. And that content would be focused on thought leadership, case studies, webinars, and white papers. And we would be promoting your content as well. So that was a little bit about our priority partner. Again, this is just an overview. I know this is a lot of information at once, so don't worry, we can send this out to everyone after the webinar. But again, this is our 2 package options, basic partner and priority partner, and then 3 ways to sign up through subscription model, revenue share model, and our split model. Lastly, we're just going to go quickly into our marketing plan. So how are we marketing and what are our objectives? So right now, we are trying to drive traffic to the Tech Hub Marketplace, position the marketplace as our go-to source for tech buyers and users, and increase motivation to adopt safety technology solutions. So who are our target audience? That would be VPs, C-level executives, and directors. So the different ways we're reaching out would be through paid social campaigns, paid digital campaigns, newsletter inclusions, an ad in the NSC Safety Health and Magazine, ads in external publications, and collaborative marketing. And right now, since we did launch at the end of October, we have had over 70,000 page views from the end of October through January, which is really exciting. So if this is something you may be interested in or just have some more questions about it, please visit nsc.org/techhub, and then you can complete a lead form. That just notifies us that you're interested in possibly applying. It'll be sent to our innovation email, and then we can reach out to you, or you just automatically get access to that application. And Katie will be dropping that link in the chat for you as well. So again, if this is something you may be interested in, I know again, this is a very quick overview. We will be sending this out afterwards if this is something you may be interested in. Alrighty, so now I'm going to be handing it over to Sarah Block with Verdantix. She is a senior manager in the Verdantix advisory service practice. With almost 5 years at the company, Sarah takes the lead on projects supporting vendors with their product and growth strategies, investors with their CDD activities, and corporates with their digital strategy and vendor selection programs. And prior to Verdantix, Sarah worked in strategy consulting and research for business, industry, and the public sector in South Africa. And with that, I'm going to pass on over to Sarah Block with Verdantix.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Riley. I'm just going to get my screen share up and we can get going. So that should be sharing nicely for everyone. Want to wish all of you a very happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for joining today. As Riley mentioned, my name is Sarah Bloch, and I am the Senior Manager in the Advisory Services practice at Verdantix. Just going to validate. Riley, can you see my screen all right before I dive in?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So as Riley mentioned, in the past kind of 4 years, I've been working extensively with a diverse range of clients on their EHS digital strategies and their technology selection projects. I've also worked quite extensively with the NSC over the past 5 years, so on a range of return on investment calculators for EHS technologies, really to help safety practitioners build the business case for tech deployments, to our more recent work with the NSC, which dives into the intersection and relationship between EHS and ESG in the new value of safety study, which really aims to help EHS professionals navigate that evolving market. So it's really a kind of combination of this experience that I'll be drawing on today. So before kind of diving in, I would like to give you a quick introduction to Verdantix itself. So we are an independent market research firm. We focus on digital solutions that optimize business processes across 6 key areas: EHS, risk management, ESG, operational excellence, net zero, and climate risk. So our research practice really helps keep a finger on the pulse of the EHS technology market through our extensive engagements with vendors, technology buyers, and investors. Some examples of the kind of key themes in our coverage recently include climate change risks and GHG management software, as EHS leaders are increasingly grappling with ESG management responsibilities. We also include coverage on process safety management and innovation areas such as mixed reality solutions, to name a few. So working in the advisory services practice at Verdantix, we really do leverage our extensive research and expert subject matter expertise to deliver bespoke consulting engagements for our clients, where we focus on delivering actionable insights and accelerating business impact of digital initiatives. Our advisory services can be split into 5 main segments. We support services firm, large technology vendors with market strategy and analyses, voice of the customer assessments, and thought leadership projects. We provide CDD and acquisition scans to investors and large vendors. And finally, we support corporates and technology buyers with digital strategy, vendor selection, and process excellence projects. Since we developed our first software product benchmark, I believe that was all the way back in 2008, we've really been called on to deliver engagements to corporates and industry practitioners that reduces the time commitment and the risk of selecting digital solutions that we cover across our practice areas. So it really is this kind of blend of experience that I'll draw on today. To help you streamline your digital selection activities. So we believe that there are 3 key stages to a successful EHS technology deployment: strategy development, vendor selection, and implementation. We often see corporates falling into common traps across each of these stages, so I just want to touch on a few of those now. Without a clearly defined EHS digital strategy, firms find it incredibly difficult to juggle and prioritize the multiple business objectives they are seeking to meet. This often leads to a lack of focus and purpose behind the actual digitization initiative, and creates challenges to really home in on the appropriate technologies out of the expansive options available in the market. Further to this, without clearly defined KPIs, it is very difficult for corporate firms to develop a robust business case, track performance, and measure the success of the initiative. During the vendor selection phase, a failure to prioritize system requirements in a way that targets addressing your key pain points and supporting your critical goals can add a lot of unnecessary complexity to the process and actually distract from the core objectives of the technology deployment. Without these clear objectives and maintaining focus on the priority issues, you're also likely to experience a lack of stakeholder buy-in and resistance to change from the different user groups. This also muddies the waters when you're trying to isolate the best fit providers for your needs. Finally, many firms underestimate the effort required for an effective technology implementation program. While this does vary based on the technology itself and the specific supplier, we commonly find that businesses fail to adequately account for both the time and the resources for successful deployment and change management activities. So in South Africa, we have a fun saying that says, you don't eat an elephant whole. And this really is true for EHS technology selection. So we recommend breaking the 3 phases down into the following 9-step best practice framework. So starting on the strategy side, really mapping out your functional and digital strategy as well as your business case. In vendor selection, through from requirements gathering, vendor shortlisting, RFP design, and then the actual RFP management and vendor selection process. And finally, in implementation, considering your deployment plan, change management, and process optimization. Importantly, with robust stakeholder engagement flowing through all 3 of these phases. So in the interest of time, I'll be raising key considerations across several of these 9 steps. I won't be going through each one in detail. So firstly, digging into digital strategy, we have found that it is absolutely critical to center your EHS roadmap and investment strategy around non-negotiable design principles that will help you break this big strategy into tangible goals and really help keep all your stakeholders aligned. Fundamentally, your digital strategy should be aligned and supportive of the vision and objectives of the EHS function, but also the broader organization as a whole. This will ensure that there's clear business purpose behind the technology investments that result. In order to effectively future-proof your digital solutions, consider both near-term and future functional and technical requirements that you will need to support over time. During this phase, perform a full recon of your as-is processes, data, and systems, really to highlight the kind of key challenges, data and process gaps, and also identify high-impact optimization opportunities. It's really the insights from the as-is analysis and the initial work on the design principles that should be leveraged to then establish the desired to-be landscape and state, which addresses your existing pain points and inefficiencies, highlights your desired system architecture, whether that be deployment type or best of breed versus platform, and also forms the basis of your digital strategy and roadmap. As part of this process, think about the key performance indicators or KPIs you can establish to help monitor and communicate the progress and impact of your strategy. So I just want to take a moment to think about what this looks like in practice. So say you are a firm and you are looking to develop a digital strategy that would help improve EHS through digitization. And say you are currently really struggling with managing multiple fragmented point solutions across your EHS landscape. You find that whether it be different regions, geographies, business units, they're also kind of doing their own procurement processes, and things are really changing too frequently and on an ad hoc basis. You should have a design principle focused on creating an integrated EHS ecosystem with a long-term vision. So some of the critical improvements that this would help drive, well, it would work you towards a desired 10-year life cycle, let's say, for digital solutions. It would help you integrate data and workflows, as well as minimize admin and upkeep. So some of the KPIs this would translate to is may include reduced upkeep cost, reduced number of systems, and decreasing the number of system tickets that you receive. Let's say also during the strategy development process, you also identified an opportunity to extract more value from the data you're collecting. You're doing a lot of compliance-centric stuff and you've got this volume of data, but you really don't feel like you're extracting a lot of value from it. And you feel that you could use this as an opportunity to really optimize and improve across your EHS KPIs. So this naturally would translate to a design principle focused on moving the needle on EHS KPIs with actionable data insights. So this principle focuses on improvements around shifting from reactive to proactive insights, more holistic data analytics, driving continuous improvement through lessons learned. And example KPIs here would include increased number of leading indicators and improvement of EHS KPIs. So it's really helpful at this stage to think about, how those design principles are going to drive the improvements that you're looking for and how you're going to track them going forward. So when you're developing your to-be digital landscape, it can be quite tempting and easy to dwell on your existing tech stack. But I think the NSC and Verdantix both recommend really exploring the realm of the possible and the areas of innovation occurring in the market that can have a long-term impact on mitigating some of your key risks. So this stage really is all about research, make sure you invest the time in understanding the different technologies available in the market and how they can help you address your objectives, mitigate your pain points, or address your key hazards in the workplace. So I'm just showing you an excerpt from one of our reports, which is the Verdantix Tech Roadmap. And this provides a really strong overview of the legacy and the emerging technologies that are demonstrating value across the EHS landscape. So this view maps out maturity on the x-axis and perceived business or market impact on the y-axis. And it can really help you identify technologies on which to further explore in your digital strategy. While it is important to be ambitious with your strategy, you should also take careful consideration in the approach of the phasing of your roadmap, targeting high value and high impact areas first. So when it comes to requirements gathering, there's several recommendations that I would just want to touch on today. So particularly for your chosen technologies, it's really important to take a user group and usage scenario approach. This really helps pull it back down to reality. Think about who's going to be using the system, for what scenarios, how are they going to interact with that system. And this really ensures that the requirements that you're capturing for the software directly link back to a business process or a user need, thereby focusing the scope of deployment, because we often see scope kind of balloon as the digital strategy and technology selection process continues. In our experience, every EHS function is set up in different ways. You should use the as-is assessment to understand how broad your user groups are and identify synergies and areas of overlap with other business units. This can help strengthen the investment business case and the deployment's impact. While you want to avoid creating a technology landscape, it's really important also to understand, where you will require a different system, particularly for global multinational firms. It may be that the most efficient approach is multiple solutions to meet the strategy. So really understand the best approach to meet the diverse needs of your business and the user groups. While it's important to take relevant stakeholders with you on this journey to ensure buy-in, engagement, and solution uptake at the end, the process can be very overwhelming and conflicting if too many individuals are involved at a very granular level. So we really recommend electing user group champions that can effectively represent the needs of their broader group, streamline engagement, and also support with communication throughout the process. Finally, we often see firms creating a very extensive wish list of functionality without effectively communicating the priority of the different capabilities that they've included in their requirements. So we recommend using a simple framework such as the kind of must, should, could, won't, or really any type of similar prioritization framework to make it very clear to internal stakeholders and to the vendor, the different vendors, what is important to your business to facilitate the effective shortlisting of the different providers. So up to this point, the work to date on developing the digital strategy, mapping your requirements, is really all in preparation for the vendor selection phase. And during the selection phase, there are several areas of focus that can support decision making. Of course, the functional capabilities of the technology providers and the vendors is absolutely critical, but and I'll go into a bit more detail there in subsequent slides. But there's a whole range of other factors that can really help isolate which firm is more attractive for you based on some of these areas. So some of the key factors relate to ensuring the solution can scale with organizational and EHS needs over time. So it's really important to test that the provider fits your desired level of complexity now and can also support in the future. So be sure to probe and understand, what's the implementation effort and price to add on modules or additional functionality and devices to the tech stack over time. Perform due diligence on the vendor's roadmaps, their product strategy, their overarching organizational strategy, and their system integration landscape, really to help you future-proof the solution. We recommend pursuing a phased approach as opposed to a big bang. So leverage your design principles, the digital strategy, your requirements prioritization, really to focus your initial selection on the first value driver that addresses your core challenges. While focusing on targeted modules really helps accelerate the ROI. Again, don't neglect your future roadmap as discussed, as this can also help support vendor shortlisting. So for example, if your near-term priority is software to support incident management, and you identify 5 vendors that can support across this area effectively, considering these vendors' ability to support your future direction, your broader EHS use cases, really can help you narrow down that field even further. Next, clearly define configuration needs and determine whether the system will empower your EHS function to make changes in-house, so as not to be reliant on external support for standard updates. I've come into a selection process where companies were looking to exchange because they just wanted a form updated and they hadn't heard back from the vendor in 6 months. So, it really creates a lot of challenges, a lot of delays, and a lot of unnecessary stress for what is a pretty simple update for you. So look out for tools such as kind of no-code tooling, drag and drop UIs, and this really will facilitate your internal teams to be able to make basic changes to support your specific workflows and processes. BI or business intelligence and ease of data integration is a really big differentiator during selection. A robust data management system really helps you maximize beyond compliance the value that you can get out of your EHS data. So here, really decide whether you want integrations with existing BI software, if you've already got Power BI or Tableau, or are you looking more for sophisticated built-in BI tools in the software? Do you want the data fed into your own data lake, or do you want it hosted on the vendor platform? Consider the different needs of the different user groups, their reporting requirements, what analytics they'd be wanting to do, and leverage that to help kind of hone in on the appropriate vendor for you. Understand your company-specific requirements, as we've discussed, but really go further into industry and regional specific requirements. Focus here is really not all equal across providers. It often relates to the vendor heritage, if they got a start in mining or chemicals, food and beverage, retail. It really reflects in how they've evolved over time. So work to understand the provider expertise across particular industries, regions, and their ability to meet niche use cases and language requirements. So, for example, if you require EHS software with a heavy operational focus, multiple complex integrations, seek to shortlist vendors with a history of targeting high-risk industries that are used to providing integrations with systems such as process historians, computerized maintenance management systems, asset performance management software, all of that. And it'll be a far less of a steep hill to climb when it comes to implementation. Finally, software usability is critical in driving engagement levels. So look for clean, visually appealing user interfaces, fast loading times, and efficient workflows which minimize the number of clicks. And that's really just helping you keep the end user in mind. So be sure to focus on these both during the RFP stage and the product demonstrations themselves. So the factors I've taken you through, really, they do help you narrow down the field, but selecting a specific supplier is still really challenging. I know Riley's introduced the Tech Hub Marketplace, which lets you identify technologies and specific vendors by hazard, industry, deployment format. And Verdantix also has a range of assets that you can leverage to help identify the best fit vendor for you. And I just want to touch on a few of those. So we've actually very recently launched our Vantage portal, and this essentially provides safety practitioners with free and unlimited access to our research. I really do recommend quickly scanning the QR code or visiting our website, and I'll highlight some methodologies that I feel you should target to support your digital selection processes. So firstly, I just want to talk about the Smart Innovators methodology. This provides kind of the highest level benchmark of vendor capabilities within a very specific EHS use case. So in this example, we've got the Smart Innovators for product and chemical compliance solutions. This is a really great starting point. It'll give you a bit of the lay of the land of the vendors that are active in this space, in this specific area, and help you effectively compare them at a top level. In the middle, we've got the buyer's guide methodology, which is far more detailed. It provides EHS professionals with a granular assessment of the most prominent vendors within a specific EHS digital use case. So here, an example report looked at air and GHG emissions management software specifically. This methodology looks at vendors' regional presence, their heritage, goes into a detailed assessment of their functionality. It also includes a detailed profile of each vendor that'll help you understand their differentiators, their strengths, and their weaknesses, and really help you assess if they're a good fit for your business. And finally, our most granular benchmarking methodology is the Verdantix Green Quadrant. This methodology assesses platform solutions, such as EHS platforms, that cover a broad set of EHS use cases. So the Green Quadrant, for example, within there would only include vendors that have air, GHG emissions, product and chemical compliance solutions, and a very large breadth of EHS use cases to give you that one-stop shop platform type experience. So I just want to give you a bit of color on how you can leverage the Green Quadrant specifically to inform your selection decisions. So the benchmark itself serves as a powerful accelerator in this process. We use a 4 to 6 month research process, and we use input from vendors, customers, and other experts to understand, well, what are the key capabilities and functionalities within this market, EHS software, for example, that will meet buyer requirements. We then screen vendors in the market and invite those that meet our screening criteria to participate in the GQ. Participation required vendors to complete a very detailed 353-point questionnaire. They need to provide detailed customer references. They need to participate in a 2-hour in-depth software demo. They walk through 6 usage scenarios that we set ahead of the time, and then view that functionality live. We then score each vendor based on both their written and their demo performances. So very similar process that you'd go through with a normal RFP and selection process. So from there, the vendors are assessed across 26 capability areas that you can see on the left and top hand side here, and 11 momentum criteria using a quantitative model. Each of these criteria has a weighting to reflect the market priority and enables us to generate a final score for both the capabilities, both functional and technical, and momentum. And this helps us produce the final GQ figure. So this is the published EHS Software Green Quadrant for 2023. And I just want to touch on a few of the key takeaways here. So the EHS market is quite a strong legacy market. So there are multiple strong options available for buyers in this market. A lot of the top vendors have had a long history supporting customers in this space, and we've seen them actively and steadily reinvest in their solutions over time, further expanding and broadening and strengthening their legacy capability sets. 12 vendors feature in the leaders quadrant. 7 firms demonstrate robust all-round capabilities, and you can see them on the top corner here, such as Clarity, Enablon, Sphera, Intellex, etc. And 6 feature in the specialist quadrant, so that includes IdeaGen, HSI, Alcumus, where they don't really have that all-round strength like those in the leaders quadrant, but they demonstrate areas of excellence across the capabilities that have been assessed. So while the published Green Quadrant is a great starting point for technology buyers, really the real power in this assessment is that the advisory function can essentially generate 2 additional distinct views to help you compare and contrast market providers against your specific requirements. So we do this typically for a big platform play, such as whether it be EHS software, carbon management software, ESG reporting and data management software. And we can essentially take your specific requirements, adjust the capability and the momentum weightings to reflect exactly what you and your business are prioritizing, and thereby really develop a bespoke or custom GQ that reflects the specific requirements and priorities of your business. So to further kind of de-risk, supercharge the vendor selection process, we have 3 key recommendations. Firstly, ensure you scrutinize vendor SLAs and, where necessary, build in clearly defined and enforceable penalties for any contractual breaches to ensure you get the desired level of services and response. Secondly, be sure to ask ask providers and your shortlist or selected vendor for client testimonials, existing client contacts, really to help understand how the vendor performs across your priority requirements, how they deal with customer and client requests, and also gain insights into any best practices that can enhance the vendor-client relationship going forward. Finally, and very importantly, during the RFP process, require vendors to demonstrate the handling of your specific scenarios instead of attending one of their kind of standard demos. By taking the reins here, it will essentially enable you to effectively compare apples with apples across the scenarios that reflect your specific priorities. We also request kind of sneaking in an unseen demo scenario during the live session to see how flexible and adaptable the solution is to your requests. So as I've shown kind of throughout this presentation, it's really important to have a solid deployment plan to support successful technology implementation. This plan should be holistic and consider systems, people, and processes. So from a systems perspective, avoid too much configuration and customization. That is one of the biggest reasons that I and Verdantix are brought in to support on getting a new technology selected, because something has been so over customized over time that it can no longer kind of go ahead with the cloud updates, and it becomes a very outdated solution very quickly. So really, from a system perspective, understand the key risks around over customizing a solution. As mentioned, they eradicate a lot of the benefits of a cloud deployment. It inhibits you from getting the full value of interconnected systems. So rather seek to understand how you can optimize and adapt your existing processes in a way that makes sense to help you avoid extensive system customizations. From a people perspective, taking stakeholders on this journey from the initial stages, as we've discussed, really ensures that you will already have pretty extensive buy-in when you get to the implementation phase. However, it's still important to invest in extensive change management during deployment. We recommend electing site champions that are responsible for onboarding everyone onto the new technology. They can also provide a continuous feedback loop, push any questions or concerns up to the regional or corporate level. And change management is not static, so you should ensure that you're continually evolving your processes, your guidance, and your communications with the business changes as they happen. So I just want to loop back then to our 3 key areas and highlight some of the takeaways from the session today. So firstly, ensure you develop a robust digital strategy with clear KPIs that are linked to business objectives and alignment on the kind of desired solution architecture that will future-proof your investments. During software selection, take a user group, user scenario, specific approach, elect user group champions, and ensure you effectively prioritize your functional and technical requirements. And finally, seek to take a phased approach to implementation. This helps accelerate the ROI, it helps address critical pain points, and ensure that you continually invest in robust change management programs as well to support that implementation phase. So I know we've got a little bit of time for Q&A, but that brings me to the end of my material today. So thank you so much for your time. We will make sure you receive the deck, and if you do have any, if you require any further information on our advisory services, research offerings, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you. So just going to check the Q&A. Riley, I don't believe we've got any questions. So if you do have any questions now, please feel free to jump in the Q&A. We'll answer as many of those as we can. All right. Well, thank you again for your time and for joining us on Valentine's Day. I hope wherever you are in the world, you have a lovely and love-filled evening ahead. I want to thank the NSC for hosting us today. And if you do require any further information, please feel free to reach out. Riley, anything from your side to close?
Nope. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Sarah and Verdantix for being here and being able to present for us. So we really appreciate it. All right, everyone have a great day, and thanks for joining us.
Bye now.
Bye.